Nigeria is the most populated nation in Africa. It's also one of the most rapidly urbanizing countries in Africa, and over 48% of the population in Nigeria lives in the urban areas. One of the most important challenges facing the country is the provision of affordable housing. Access to affordable housing has largely remained an unfulfilled dream to the vast majority, especially the middle and lower class of the society, and the housing deficit keeps increasing by the day. The good news is that this situation can be salvaged. Coming up today on the program, the Ministry of Housing holds Sensitization Forum. Property agency challenges. Plus, is it possible to find a house for rent or sell in Nigeria without paying agency fee? That is one question many home seekers asked. First, let's see the news making rounds in the housing sector. I am Flora, your housing diva.
The Executive Governor of Ogun State, Dr. Abubakar Aliyu, has assured that his administration will issue certificates of occupancy (COO) to investors in the state within 28 working days. The governor made this disclosure at the Executive Council Strategic Retreat held in Engr in Engr local government area. He added that in tackling investment and housing deficit in Ogun State, his administration will ensure COO is made available to investors within 28 days, as well as deliver 5,000 housing units alongside basic community needs. Dr. Abubakar Aliyu also reiterated his commitment towards providing necessary conditions for business to thrive in the state. The African Development Bank has revealed that the bank will invest $250 million in the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) Water and Sanitation Integration Project. The project aims at improving water supply and sanitization in the satellite towns. The Senior Director of African Development Bank, Mr. Ibrahima Fall, made this known in Abuja during a courtesy visit to the office of the FCT Minister of State, Untitled Aliyu. He stated that the bank will also invest in the development of Abuja Technology Village, adding that a number of studies are ongoing in the various components of the integrated project, including ICT, fashion, and infrastructural development. The Minister of State for Works and Housing, Engineer Abubakar Aliyu, has bemoaned the lack of accurate data on the exact figure of housing deficits in the country. He stated this while speaking at a one-day sensitization forum on land, housing and urban development organized by the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing on Thursday with the theme Achieving National Housing and Urban Development Goals, Opportunities for Partnership and Collaboration. He said the sensitization forum is timely as it provides an avenue for stakeholders in the housing sector to come together to cross-fertilize ideas on how to achieve the problem of housing deficit in the country. He reiterated the federal government's commitment to combat the problem of housing deficit in the country. Pan-African's leading finance institution, Shelter Afrique, says its partnership with the Abuja International Housing Show, Nigeria Mortgage Refinance Company, Family Homes Funds, and other local institutions will help reduce the huge housing deficit in Nigeria. Shelter Afrique's Managing Director, Mr. Andrew Chimphondah, stated this at a one-day sensitization forum on lands, housing and urban development organized by the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing on Thursday with the theme Achieving National Housing and Urban Development Goals, Opportunities for Partnership and Collaboration. He further said Shelter Afrique is supporting microfinance institutions to enable Nigerians access mortgage loans to build their own houses where they have already had access to land. He, however, lauded the Abuja International Housing Show in its role in providing a credible platform for all stakeholders in the built environment to come together to share innovation, collaborate, and also get funding for affordable housing provision. He noted that Shelter Afrique is proud to be a partner with the Abuja International Housing Show, saying its growing prominence is a testament to its relevance.
For full details of the news and more stories, visit www.africahousingnews.com. to ease housing development in the country. The Federal Ministry of Works and Housing held a one-day sensitization forum in Abuja. Take a look.
The Federal Ministry of Works and Housing on 16th of January in Abuja held a sensitization forum on lands, housing and urban development, multilateral programs of collaboration. The event was held to achieve sensitization on the roles of international organizations which are in collaboration with the federal government to ease housing development in the country. Emphasis was made on the need for collaboration and partnership to address the problems of housing and urbanization in Nigeria. The Minister of State for Works and Housing, Engineer Abubakar Aliyu, while speaking on the sidelines of the event, stressed the need for all stakeholders to come together in collaboration to reduce Nigeria's housing deficit.
All stakeholders are gathered here to synergize, to talk and cross-fertilize ideas on how to approach with a view to reduce the deficit.
The Director, Planning, Research and Statistics of the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Dr. Famous Esedwo, says the event aims to create awareness among Nigerians that housing is an issue that requires much collaboration.
The aim is to really create awareness among Nigerians other than national actors. Those at the sub-national level should also know that housing is an issue that requires much collaboration other than maybe the state or the local government concerned.
For the representatives of the international organizations working with Nigeria on housing and urbanization, they say partnership is key to addressing housing deficit and the challenges of urbanization.
We believe that through now the partnerships and the collaborations with the local institutions here in Nigeria, we'll be able to, I think, make a big progress in terms of, reducing that crisis.
I think partnership, collaboration is key to collectively addressing the challenges associated with urbanization in our towns and cities.
Other stakeholders believe the public and private sector must collaborate to deliver affordable housing to Nigerians.
It's a step in the right direction. At least we are putting all the stakeholders under one roof so that they can provide solutions to the challenges in building a sustainable environment for all our people.
We're here to brainstorm as far as the conference is concerned, so that after the conference we shall all go back to our various states, put in what we have learned here so far to see how best our government can come on board with the new innovations we must have learned here to see how we can improve the living standard of our people towards making provision of the houses expected of them.
The forum also set out to sensitize people about the forthcoming World Urban Forum taking place in Abu Dhabi, which is the largest platform to discuss issues of urbanization and housing globally.
You're watching Housing Development.
Housing development must be set in the context of a rigorous economic as well as urban, spatial, regional planning.
Obviously, we can't not do this. We have to do it. We have to support housing. We need affordable housing, but we can't do it fast and sloppily. It has to be done right.
It means getting out of our comfortable homes and realizing that our job is to reduce the proliferation of slums across Africa.
It's about changing people's lives. It's about touching everybody and trying to improve the life and the opportunity for everybody.
We need to empower the people by making affordable housing in communities available that are sustainable, healthy, livable, and prosperous.
Housing is no more about shelter provision. It's a key tool in creating employment opportunity. It's a key tool in fueling growth and ensuring that we have dynamic multiplier effect in the local economy.
I mean, the real challenge that we're addressing at the moment across this continent is shifting investment patterns into the opportunity that is affordable housing.
Tackling the housing crisis in Nigeria definitely need a robust collaborative effort. The housing sector can only get better with opportunities for partnership and collaboration. Now moving on, buyers and sellers of properties might look to save money during a real estate transaction by not employing the services of a real estate agent, as this is now a finger-snap money-making domain for all and sundry, as non-professionals are largely involved in agency practice. Now take a listen to this report.
Property agency, in its simplest form, can be described as the letting, sale, or purchase of land or buildings on behalf of a client. In real estate, an agent can act for or on behalf of a principal. With this kind of legal business agreement between the two parties involved, one would be quick to imagine that all is rosy in the business, but this is not always the case, as the shady activities of property agents continue to constitute problems for property owners and prospective patrons. Perhaps one of the biggest challenges to property agency is the dishonesty of agents themselves. In their bid to make more money, property agents become bottlenecks in the line of transaction. While some unduly inflate the cost of renting a property without the consent of their principals, others continue to swindle unsuspecting customers without having a property on hand. Another serious challenge is the huge number of non-professionals involved in the agency practice. Since entry requirements and skills remain quite loose, anyone who is interested in the practice can, with little or no prior formal training, become a property agent. This is why property agency in Nigeria has been largely regarded as a finger-snap money-making domain for all and sundry. With this, the real professionals are outnumbered, and the sharp practices of all non-professionals are equally used as standards to judge the core values of the profession. However, one cannot entirely heap the blame on property agents alone, as property owners also have a chunk in the problem of property agency. Since property owners are aware of the ever-growing demand for landed properties, they inflate their rents to such unreasonable figures, and when they do not get patronage, they call in property agents to hopefully accomplish the impossible. Any advice about rent reduction is usually seen as an admission of failure rather than the exercise of professionalism by the property agents. This puts the agent in tight shoes, and the end effect is suffered heavily by the public. In order to restore sanity to the scene of property agency in Nigeria, there is need to sensitize the public about property agency and attendant rules, risks and benefits. The concerned agencies, such as the Association of Estate Agents in Nigeria, should maintain a database of qualified property agency practitioners so as to mitigate the activities of quacks in the profession. In addition, government should prosecute property agents suspected of having violated the existing laws of the profession. To ensure that estate agency practice is no longer an all-comers affair, government should introduce a code of conduct for practitioners, which will specify the rules of practice and punishment for defaulters. The practice of property agency in the nearest future holds bright prospects, and as such, there is need to ensure that all priorities are met accordingly and appropriately for the growth of the industry.
There is definitely a need to sanitize the profession, as people without formal training pose as property agents, offering real estate-related services. Some even defraud unsuspecting members of the public who are home seekers. A lot of Nigerians have fallen victims of rental scam. Let's hear them share their experiences on Voices on the Street.
At school back then when I was in Futa, I got a problem with an agent. It was supposed to be 90,000 naira, but he charged me for over 150,000 naira. I was wondering why would I pay 150,000 naira different from other students just because I was ignorant of the price. So one of the problems we have is that people don't want to, people want to use us for free. They just want to make use of our senses that, this one doesn't know anything. Oh, Mokpolo, he doesn't have anything in his head. So just use his head. And these are the problems people face, and it brings quarrel one another. People begin to have issues with them, don't want to pay their house rent for the next year. And, it starts from there.
What happens in this country baffles me sometimes. The agents are everywhere. People are duped. They will tell you they have house, and can you imagine that somebody will pay for 2 years rent, 2 years rent, and he's not sure of the next 3 months money in his pocket, and he pays for 2 years rent. And people swindle people. They carry you to this place before you talk, they have already collected money for you. Before you say anything, they've collected money, and there's nothing you can do. Some of them, you give them deposit, tomorrow they disappear.
The rightful owner of a building will not want to scare people away from its structure. But the agents are always happy when they scare away people because they want to maximize profit. Because they will not want you to meet the real owner of that property, because they would want to come in between the two of you and then run it what they call business. Very terrible business.
When I first came to Abuja, I had that same experience when I was looking for a house. I was able to gather the money, but before you know it now, they were kind of telling me that I have to add so amount of money to it. It wasn't easy, but I just have to do it.
There are areas they will make it easier for you, and at times too very difficult. Understand me? Difficult, in the sense that most times they on their own increase house. Like the what do you call it? The agent fee that you will pay. If the landlord is willing to take 1 naira, they will ask the landlord to make it 2 naira, so they will get more.
They are self-centered. They after themselves. They don't care whether you have a very good house. They don't care whether after taking the house, the repairs, the minor or the good things to carry out from there. They don't fight over it for you from the landlord. Once they take the money from you, they tell you it's in between you and landlord. They don't care. And as a result of this, a lot of house rent is supposed to be dropping in Abuja. But the way the house agents, the way they paint it, it's make house rent to continue increasing. If government can help us look into this matter, take property tax from landlord, they will be forced to bring their price of housing in Abuja. Then the middlemen would disappear immediately.
As the popularity of renting rises against buying, so does the risk of being scammed by fake property agents. Finding rented accommodation that is affordable can be challenging. Demand for rented accommodation is at its highest ever, and with limited supply of available accommodation, prospective tenants can become victims of rental scams. So anyone looking to rent needs to exercise caution and not rush into a decision, particularly if you have doubts. Now, never agree to rent a property through a website or social media. You need to visit the property and ensure it is genuine let. You need to be happy with the property and the terms and conditions of the letting. Remember, scammers often photocopy addresses and other information from various rental listings and then use this information to put up a fake listing. Never hand over cash, as cash is untraceable and can be used immediately.
I'm Debbie Erb. I work for OPIC in the United States, and keep watching the Affordable Housing Development Program.
You're watching Housing Development. One event that will shape the housing sector this year, that will bring together stakeholders from 21 different countries to converge and shape the way forward in Nigeria and Africa at large, is the Abuja International Housing Show. The 14th edition will hold in July and is going to be like never before as Pan-African leading finance institution, Shelter Afrique, partners First Step Communications, the organizers of Abuja International Housing Show, to host the 14th edition.
Abuja International, Housing Show is critical because it provides a very critical platform for all stakeholders that are interested in the built environment to come together to share innovation, to share collaboration, and also to get funding for housing. And we believe that it's a very good initiative. We see it growing. I think you've seen even the numbers. We see it increasing in prominence, and we are happy to be associated and to also be a partner in the Abuja International Housing Show.
We believe the Abuja International Housing Fair is a good platform to showcase Alaro City and to reach our target market and to let the market know what good things are happening at Alaro City.
There's really a lot of business going on and lots of things happening, and that's good. I think people seem to be quite happy with it, so it's actually giving positive things to the market.
This event is a timely event. I think it's come at the right time. That will help fund development, and you should see more affordable homes being built here in Nigeria.
It has been a fantastic event. A lot of speakers, a lot of solutions have been propounded, and then also in addition, it's not just talking now, there's also been put in place measures to make sure we follow up.
I've been attending the shows regularly for the past 3-4 years, and I've noticed a significant improvement, especially with the international dimension the show has. I'll tell the organizers to keep up a good work and maintain the tempo, because nothing succeeds like success.
That's the much I can bring on today. Thanks for watching. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms. If you miss any part of the program, you can watch via the YouTube channel Housing TV Africa. I remain Flora, your housing diva. That's the much I can bring on today. Thanks for watching. Remember to keep a date same time, same station next week. I remain Flora, your housing diva.